Hello, out there in Listenerland. It's back with another podcast. Today we thought we would pick a dream team.
Ooh.
A dream team, yeah. It can be a 4, a 5, a 6 piece. It can be whatever you want it to be. But who would you have if you were putting an album together? Who would you have on your album? What would be the band?
So your dream band.
Yeah.
Dream band. I found this particular subject extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It really is.
Because of why? What did
I
you struggle
didn't know how to approach it.
Well, you start with the musicians.
That's a good starting point. I'll
There we
grant
go.
you that.
You should have
But
just texted me.
I didn't know whether to be like, oh, well, I've got to have Phil Lynott singing because I like Phil Lynott. He's one of my all-time favourites. But well, no, because then it's just going to be a favourites band, isn't it? Or shall I go for like, who would actually blend well with another musician? Or would it be like, I like him, but I don't think. No, I got really confused with this one.
Well, that's what I had to think about. So I could put my powerhouse band together, but would it work sonically?
I don't think any of them would work. But it's just
Well, I'm just saying, would it work sonically? But I didn't do that. I tried to think about how it would work as a band and what it would generate.
yeah, okay, yeah. Are you going to touch your band then?
I just went down the road of
I like them.
the people. Yeah, I like them. And because I was thinking about it like that, and what about, and I could do this, and I just thought, I'm just complicating matters here. I'm just going to pick people who I think would make a good album or make a good track, or somebody who I'd like to hear all together just to see what the outcome would be.
Yeah. Mine's a bit like that with some personal favourites.
Yeah.
Personal
Yeah.
favourites.
Well,
The cashier at Tesco's.
I'm gonna say now that I've got an A, B, and C team.
Okay.
Well, I've got a couple of things like that. So, first of all, I thought, right, let's get drums out of the way. We'll start with my drummer.
Your drummer.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought, I'm going to go drums. Who would I have drums? And they were all, obvious ones. Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl, Phil Collins. And then I narrowed it down. I thought, I'm going to go with one of two. And I'm still a little bit...
Well, you got to pick one. Just one.
So I'm going to go with, and I do apologise, John Bonham, but I'm going to go with Nick Mason as my drummer. Just because
Why are you apologising?
because I rate like John Bonham's drumming.
Well, it don't matter.
And
He's dead. He can't hear you.
well, yes, but I would have usually gone with him, but I just thought I just like Nick Mason's use of drums, and I just think he's a very good drummer. He knows a way around the drum kit. So
He does it for you.
I'm gonna stick with him. And then I thought, right, so we're good at bass. And I went with my bass player for two reasons. Because I thought, not only can he play bass, he can be a backing singer, and maybe also a stand-in singer, or maybe do a bit of
A tactical choice.
Yes, so with him, I went with Glenn Hughes as my bassist. I thought, I'll go with him, because he's a good...
Something to say about Glenn Hughes?
No, I've got a pigeon in my pocket. Sorry.
Oh.
So I thought, yeah, he'd maybe do a track where he does a song or two. Just, he can sing as well as duck bass. So I thought, we'll keep it to that.
Oh, wait, they're going to be one of those annoying bands where the members keep rotating instead of making mic.
No, I just thought,
This one's for Glenn.
And then my guitarists, 1 and 2, and I'm not going to have a lead and a rhythm. They're just going to do what they want. Because I've gone for a guy that I've only just discovered, Joe Bonamassa, which is probably
there's a surprise.
Which is probably a big surprise to
We weren't
people.
expecting that one.
Just let him do what he wants. It'll be fine.
Go on, Joe. Off you do your thing. And the second guitarist, I've gone for Kenny Wayne Shepherd. They're my two favourite guitarists, probably. So they were always going to be in.
Would that not be like a cat fight on stage, though? But
No.
trying to
No,
shine each other?
no, because although they're very
I've never seen them two on stage together.
Yeah,
It could be the same person.
Have they?
yeah, I think they have done. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they have. I'm sure there's something on YouTube with them.
Well, there might be something on YouTube, but were they playing guitars?
Boom, boom.
No. I think they were just walking past.
All right, it's a bus stop together. All right, I've got
So yeah, so I've gone with him. I've gone with them two, and then the singer was probably my hardest one because
very difficult.
again I'm thinking I'd like to go with something like Noah Hunt. And
You gotta be careful how you say that, though, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad we hadn't had a lot of IPAs tonight. And then I thought maybe Miles Kennedy. I do like really Miles Kennedy. I thought, what am I going to go here? So I disregarded both of them, and I thought I'm going to go with a different aspect, and I'm going to go with Jay Buchanan.
Is that Neil Buchanan's sister?
Yes, from Rival Sons.
Jay. All right.
From
Yeah.
Rival Sons.
That's a good choice.
And I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah, it
I'm
is
going to go with
actually.
him.
Yeah,
Just
he's a good singer.
a different aspect,
He's a good singer.
maybe put a different type of listening audience to the band because
Yeah,
it's a bit more modern blues rather than
Some unexpected choices there.
bluesy blues.
And what would your band's name be called?
We would be called
It's a strange name.
yes.
Please welcome on stage.
We,
With their new album. Dot.
I don't. I
sounds like a Yoko Ono band, that.
I didn't really pick a name. I didn't really.
I never thought about
No,
it.
no.
I
It,
didn't
well,
know.
it wasn't. I just thought of it then. It's
No, it's a good idea. I like
it's
it.
something like I like to call spontaneity.
Yeah.
That's the name of my band.
That's the your band.
Spontaneity. It's very jazzy.
I think I'll call mine X Factor. No, wait, no.
No, you've chosen it now. X Factor band it is.
Mine's going to be called The Sound.
The sound.
The sound. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to call mine. It's what's written above your head on the wall at back here.
We're all yids, aren't we?
Tramp.
Tramp. Because that's a great track.
It is. a great
ZZ
track.
Top.
Yeah, well, it wasn't originally a ZZ Top. It was
Otis Redding.
Otis Redding song.
All right.
But ZZ Top do a great version of that. Is that all your band then? No woodwind
yeah.
section?
No, I'm having none of that windy malarkey and all
No-
that.
no back-
Hold on.
All that.
No
crap.
keyboard player?
No, absolutely not. And before you say no, there's no
Does
pillock
not-
on the piano.
Doesn't Elton John get us?
He
a
does
look
not.
in
No,
on piano?
he isn't even allowed into an auditorium to listen to him. Stay outside with his piano and play on the street.
What about Freddie? He could play piano for you.
What?
You like a bit of Freddie Mercury? Well, there's that old story, isn't there? There's that old story about Freddie playing the old piano.
Yes.
They're in some place, some award ceremonies, and there was a side room, and an interviewer is interviewing Freddie Mercury, sat at a piano, and they're asking all these questions, blah, 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 blah. Then all of a sudden, the door slams open, and who's in the doorway?
Oh,
Sid Vicious.
yeah, it was Sex Pistols, right?
Yeah.
Sid
Yeah.
Vicious.
It was Sid Vicious. Here, Freddie, I hear you're bringing opera to the masses. Mr. Ferocious, please join me at the piano.
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of my all-time favourite stories, that. All right, then. So that's the end of you. You got nobody on piano?
No piano, no keyboards.
Didgeridoo?
No didgeridoos, no wind instruments. Like I say, I'm not having none of that. And all that malarkey. No.
Wasn't there a lovely chap that used to play a wobbly board from Australia?
He's not in it either.
Okay.
Nope.
He's not in it either. Can you tell what it is yet?
Ooh, scary.
So, do you want to go, or shall I?
Well, I'll go on then. You can
Go
go.
on then, you can go.
No, I'll let.
No, you
no,
like to be last, but not this time.
All right. Wow. All right. So I like I said, I thought about mine as to what it's going to sound like. I didn't want to just pick like my thunder choices. So here we go. And I also tried to really consider to not have members from the same band. You know.
Okay.
Right. Now these don't necessarily mean that these are my favourite instrument players or musicians of all time, but I in this lineup, this is what I think might be interesting. So I'm going to work from the guitars out, right?
You start where you want.
Because Wayne started from the drums, but the drums were the last thing for me.
And I started with drums.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I went to the rhythm section first.
Yeah. Right. So I'm going to start with bass.
Okay.
So allow me to put my bass on. So I'm going to go for Thundercat, who's a solo artist who plays like a 7-string bass, and he's very funky, and he sings in like a falsetto sort of sound, and he's collaborated with everyone and anyone. I saw him a couple of years ago at Green Man Festival during one of some of the artists weren't allowed to leave the UK because of COVID and all that sort of stuff. So it was one of the few festivals around. Anyway, he was fantastic. He was out like tempoing with Beat, the drummer. He was amazing, a really amazing bass player, but not like, it wasn't like one of those where it was, what's that thing what Joe Satriani does? Is it G3 or something like that?
Yeah.
Where they have like bass dual offs and stuff like that, where it's just
Yeah.
noodling and noodling. It's none of that. It was
Really?
actually, it was actually quite tasteful, and anyway, singing at the same time. Very, not
It was quite tasteful.
It was tasteful. It was good, and it was actually thought out and made into a song rather than just wobbling. Anyway, so Thundercat on bass is funky, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like a nice funky bass line, and he can deliver. So Thundercat on bass, and for rhythm
Sounds
guitar,
like a cartoon.
for rhythm guitar,
Mm-hmm.
I am going for Jimmy Page. Now, the reason why I'm putting him as rhythm is because Jimmy Page he obviously can do lead, and he's very good at lead, and he can do his blues licks and stuff, but he's very good at like strong riffs, and he can use is one of the best at riffs. I want a solid. I don't want necessarily like root chord. I don't want a root chord player. I don't want Pete Townsend sort of guy. I want big chunky note riffs. Because it would have been easy to go Jimi Hendrix, but that's like Jimi Hendrix just plays Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy Page is quite a bit more versatile.
I'd like to put Steve Vai on rhythm.
I've not asked you.
Just to annoy Steve Vai. Imagine Vai on rhythm.
So Jimmy Page on rhythm, and now I need a lead guitarist to contrast that.
Ooh.
So I've gone for The Edge.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
The Edge does one of the best solos for me. One of my favourite solos of all time is the solo from the Fly song, and it's just got a load of delay on it. It's quite a simple solo, but it's very effective. Now The Edge is also really good at rhythm. He's a great riff player, and he's a tremendous riff player. But he's very experimental with his pedals and his solos. You very rarely hear him do anything that relates at all to blues, but you wouldn't necessarily call it pop. So he's very experimental. He has like...
you used to have a name for him when you were younger, didn't you?
The Scientist. I used to call him the
Scientist.
Scientist because he has these big servers at the back of the stage where it's just sound, it might as well be Google at the back where everything's flashing away. So I thought there'd be a really interesting combination of guitar players. So you got this big chunky 70s Les Paul with experimental solos on top. So we've got funk, we've got riffs, and we've got experimental. We've got layers there. We've got layers to work with. All right. Singer.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
Also, by the way, The Edge can play a keyboard, and he can sing as well. So Thundercat,
But is he in your band as a keyboard player?
he can play it if he needs to.
Oh, okay.
So you're having a keyboard.
If the
there.
song requires a keyboard,
So if they're going out on tour, he's going to say, "All right, don't forget your keyboard player as well."
yeah, he can have a keytar. So,
Okay.
all right. So the singer, I didn't want to go down the route of finding like
Somebody that can sing.
I didn't want to go for like somebody who's going to do like a big power rock thing, like Robert Plant or Chris Robinson or like that, or Rod Stewart. Sort of, didn't want to go down that avenue because then I'd be arcing back to trying to create like a 70s band.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'll go with Nick Cave because Nick Cave doesn't really sing, but he has really powerful lyrics and he can really express emotion in the way he delivers a song. I saw him at Glastonbury and he was like intense and electrifying. He had the audience eating out the palm of his hand. There's points where he's literally walking
big
on.
hand.
He's walking on the crowd where they're holding his feet, and it's really really good. He's a very entertaining character.
Bit like Jesus.
A bit like Jesus. He was also entertaining. I loved his part
But
of
he
trick with
wasn't
bread
from
and
Australia,
bread
though,
and
was he?
fish. Well, I don't know.
Well, Jesus was from Australia.
Well, who knows? If only it was written down in a book. So yeah, I've got Nick Cave on vocals. I think that'd be a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
So I want drums that's going to complement the bass. I
Yeah.
want some funky drums.
Yeah.
So I've gone for Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ooh.
Just because I don't want solid.
That's heavy funk though. That,
Well,
isn't it?
yeah, because Thundercat's funky,
Yeah.
and I don't want.
It's quite full on, isn't it?
I don't want stadium rock drums. I don't want like solid, like, you know. I don't want John Bonham with Jimmy Page. I want something that's going to work with the bass, because the bass, to me, audibly, is quite similar to the drums.
Right. Got you.
So there we go.
They've got to be able to work together, so they've got to be on a sort of similar wavelength.
So that's how my band lays up, and yeah, they're called Spontaneity.
Oh, great. Okay.
And the first album's called I Bet You Didn't See This Coming. And the first single off the album is Ha. Told you so.
That's not very spontaneous, then, is it?
Well,
Oh, I was just taking everything out of your story there. All right. Well, what I'm going to go for then, I'm going to start with.
sorry. What are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for drummer.
Go on then.
I'm going to start with the drums first. Now, I've gone on a similar tack to what you've gone on, in that I wanted them to be. I did struggle. I did really struggle with this, because I didn't know whether I wanted to have my favourite people in there, or I wanted to have a band that's going to complement each other. And I've got a bit of both, I think.
You've gone for the Beatles, haven't you?
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac. They're all in there. Even Stevie Nicks.
80s. 80s Fleetwood Mac. That's what it needs.
None of that 1969, 70s stuff. That's right.
Oh, that malarkey.
No, my drummer, and well, I've got two, and
You've got to pick one.
I've got to pick one. I'm going to tell you both.
No,
of them. I'm going to tell you both.
You will have to pick one.
But I will pick one.
No,
All
because
right.
that's what you're doing there, is you're padding out your choices.
Yes.
And we didn't do that. We
Well,
decided.
Just call me Paddy. Right, I'm a
Don't
real big
have a
fan.
Paddy.
I'm a real big fan of Stuart Copeland.
I was going to pick him, actually. He was
He's
on
got a
my...
great groove when he's drumming.
Yeah.
He's really good. Really good. The kid from
Well, you can't see this, ladies and gentlemen, but what he's actually doing is air drums right now.
Air Drums.
But it looks like a baby trying to swim.
It's a very small kit. Yeah.
A very big baby.
Thank you. Yeah, and my other one is Steve Jordan, who's now playing drums for Stones. He's got a good groove as well. Really nice drummer.
Yeah, he does.
Really nice. We've got a nice little shuffle type.
And
thing.
it's not imposing. It's
No,
like
it's not.
it's there without noticing it. Which sounds like an insult, but it's not.
Well, it just has this way, and his little fills are really nice, and it's not like
It's
there's
silky.
nothing 4/4 about it, if you know what I mean. It's very clever drummer, and a bit like Copeland. Copeland's the same. It just does things in a different way, and I think it's really impressive. And so,
Isn't Copeland argumentative though?
well, I'm not bothered about his temperament.
Well, you
I
gotta
want
think of
his
the
drumming.
dynamics.
I want him his drumming.
Oh, is it Sting that's argumentative?
I think they both clashed.
I mean, he is called Sting.
Well, they both clashed, but I think that worked in a positive way. You know, a lot of bands have that problem, and the outcome is that at the end of the day, they'll have a really good track.
Yeah.
They might hate each other, but they'll have a good track. So I think I'm going to go for Steve Jordan as my drummer, because I've gone. Now, Jordan used to play for Expensive Winos with Keith Richards as well. Obviously, it's Stones now, and John Mayer in the John Mayer trio. So, but I'm going to go for Jordan, because I quite like that. And Copeland, he used to obviously play for Police, but he was in Curved Air as well. Another band, but he does a lot of film scores now. He does a lot of film scores, and he does a bit of opera. He's into all sorts of orchestral stuff and ballet even.
He does ballet.
Yeah, he doesn't do ballet, but he
while he's
does
drumming?
music for ballet.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. And he's 70. Can you imagine? He can't imagine he's 70.
17 tights now.
Yeah, leaping about.
Leaping about with
No, I
everything.
didn't mean that. I mean,
Leaping
I
around
remember-
his drum
Pirouette.
kit.
It's stuck in my memory as a member of Police at that age. So, yeah, but he's a 70-year-old man now. Anyway, bass player.
Oof.
So if working on the theory that Steve
bass.
Jordan is the drummer. I wanted somebody that's going to have.
Steve Jordan is a drummer.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, Steve Jordan, the drummer.
Right.
And I wanted somebody. I originally thought like Phil Lynott, Glenn Hughes, because he can sing. Both. Phil Lynnott's more known for his vocals. He weren't particularly famous for his bass playing, but he could play bass. Glenn Hughes is a very good bass player apparently, and is an exceptional singer. So my two shortlisted bass players are Stu Ham. Now you mentioned him earlier, but you didn't realise it.
Go on.
He played for Joe Satriani when they have that.
Oh, it's him. Oh, right. Okay.
But he's got-
I'll say this: in the old footage I saw him, he's got a terrible haircut.
Well,
And most bass players are butt ugly, by the way.
He could have
Most bass players let the tide down.
he
Look
could
at
have
any
a
bass
hat
player.
on. What about letting him have a hat?
Well,
He could wear a hat.
Yeah, but if he wore a hat, it'd be like one of those bucket hats.
Bill Wyman said he slept with over 2,000 women.
Yeah, and half of them were under 50. Moving on.
So
Quickly.
Stu Ham is one of these go-to bass players. He played with Satriani for a lot of years, and he's worked with Glenn Hughes, Richie Coxon, Eric Johnson. He's all top players. He's played with them all.
All right.
My other choice that I've seen him play with loads of different people, and he's always impressed me because he's got this heavy groove type player. He's not a straight boom 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 boom. He doesn't play it like a guitar, but he plays it. He embellishes a lot more, and he's got a good groove to it. And it's Pino Palladino.
Pino Palladino.
Pino Palladino. And I have only just discovered. Sorry, Pino.
Sounds like a wine.
He's actually Welsh.
Really?
Yeah,
The other one sounded like some
he's
from
actually
Delicanter.
Welsh, and I think he's a great player. Great player.
So are you just listing off great players now? I'm getting confused who's in your band.
Oh,
You're just listing off great players.
yeah.
This isn't the question.
Pino Palladino is my bass player.
Right. So we've only gone. So Stephen Copeland is your drummer.
No, are you in the same room?
I'm getting confused. Wayne,
Right.
are you confused as well? Please tell me I'm not alone.
Steve Jordan is my drummer.
Steve Jordan is your
Steve
drummer.
Jordan's the
Right.
drummer.
On bass, Pino Palladino,
Pino Palladino. All right.
who's Welsh.
Apparently,
With an Italian name.
My vocalist
singer.
is Glenn Hughes,
Oh, right.
because I think Glenn Hughes sings better now than he did when he was with Deep Purple, and he does like a little bit of the old groove stuff. So I think it would work very well. He's an excellent vocalist. I really like Glenn Hughes' vocals. And this is where I am at the moment. A couple of years ago, it might have been different. Next week, it might be different. But this is where I am at the moment because I like Glenn Hughes. Lead guitar, struggled with this one. Really struggled. Because there's that many I like.
That's why I didn't go with a lead and a rhythm. I just did two guitarists, and I'm just, look, you two, you're quite capable of doing what you want. Just go and do something.
I guess that just leaves me with the plums to choose one then.
Yeah, well, if you say so. You're just a plum. I've gone. My two that I'm shortlisted again.
Okay.
I've gone for John Mayer
Okay.
and Eric Steckel. Now, given that I've already mentioned some of these other people, Pino Palladino and Steve Jordan were the John Mayer trio. So I might put in there Eric Steckel.
I mean, you can put John Mayer in there,
Well,
but you are just rebuilding a band that's already exists.
Rebuilding
I
the
know,
band
I know,
of
but I
yesteryear.
just, what can I say?
It's not going to be called the John Mayer Band. It's
I
by the
really
Johns,
like the
is it?
singer from the Wings, but I also like the singer from the Plastic Ono Band.
And I like the
think I'm
drummer.
gonna-
I like the drummer from Beatles.
Wings and the Plastic Ono Band. Wasn't that John Lennon?
Well, Wings was Paul McCartney and Plastic Ono was John Lennon.
Yeah, but-
and I know I was going to say, but the man who spoke on Thomas the Tank Engine, he was a great
And
drummer.
yes, the drummer from Beatles.
So
Had a
I'm going to
certain
go.
kind of riff.
Just to shoot you up.
Okay.
I'm going to go, and it won't work against other musicians, but I'm going to go with Eric Steckel
All right.
with John Mayer on first rhythm.
First rhythm.
First rhythm.
Right.
Because on second rhythm,
Good lord.
I'm having Steve Lukather. No, if buts or maybe, Steve Lukather is my second rhythm
Right.
guitarist.
Why no ifs, buts, or maybe why so definite?
I ain't getting any more thought.
Oh, right.
And he's run out of pages.
What a compliment to Steve.
He's just one of the best guitarists out there, and he's just Mr. Steady, Mr.
Mr. Steady. What a
He's
sexy
been a
name.
session musician since early 70s, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, and he, Mr. Go-To.
Nothing finer than Mr. Steady.
Oh,
Mr. Go-To. Barking mad, but it's Mr. Go-To. And just to throw some mix in there,
Excuse me.
I'm going to have John Paul Jones on mandolin.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Not that the funky bass and the
gotta have a bit
funky
of Led
drummer
Zeppelin
is
there.
going to make any difference to a mandolin player, but
All right. So can you... Yeah.
and your name is
Tramp.
Tramp. Oh yes, yeah.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah.
diddle, do, do, do. Yep, that one.
Do-
They might not be playing that.
Do.
They might not be playing that because they've not got any bookings yet.
And what's
Really?
the Tramp's first album called?
The first album's called Wait and See.
Oh. And the first single off that album is called?
Aren't you sorry for waiting?
And what's the name of the tour?
It's called
Here we are.
You've Waited Long Enough.
Very good. Very good.
I should have had Tom Waits playing.
I thought you'd have had him.
No, he don't fit in with anybody else though, does he?
No, I definitely don't fit in with anybody
He's definitely a solo
else.
artist.
It's like I was considering having David Bowie as a vocalist, but he is a solo artist. And if he was in the band, he'd only be in the band for one album.
Yeah,
then he'd be
because
off.
then they'd have had enough for him, and they'd have said, "Look, sorry,
And
David,
you want
Stop
to
going on about your China girl.
but this is just not working out. Take your red shoes and do one."
I will dance with you, but just shut up.
You wouldn't have bought a ticket for that one anyway, Wayne, would you?
No, I wouldn't have had a ticket. Gideon, I bought one.
Oh, that's too harsh. Don't be so harsh on people. Give people a bit of slack. You might end up liking these people you
I might. Yeah,
dislike.
You're absolutely right. I've more chance of going to watch Elton John concert.
Speaking of Elton John, I will be seeing him this summer.
I'm sorry for that.
It will be his last gig in the UK / maybe all.
I thought it was his farewell gig.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think it's his last one in the UK, and
Give him my regards.
and is probably potentially the last one. I mean, when I say it's his last gig ever, I mean it is. You don't know.
I didn't think these people retired.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Like when he says it's his last gig ever, he's probably in 6 months' time going to be playing somebody's conservatory.
Right.
Rocket Man, or as he says now, he just makes his own words up.
Hasn't turned into Aussie.
He just doesn't
Has he-
pronunciate anymore.
Has he just stopped? Is he going to stop, retire from
Sounds like
touring,
it.
or just retire from making music?
I think he's from both. He does a podcast, an Apple podcast.
What? Going yeah, like that.
Sorry, you're all right. I'm in a stroke.
I take it Linda's going to be gutted then if he's packing up.
Oh no.
Favourite artist,
no,
done,
she-
gone the way of the casual vomit and all that
She would
malarkey.
definitely not appreciate you saying that, Wayne. In
Highlander.
fact, the next time you see her, I should cover
Duck.
certain parts of your body, protect certain parts of your body.
All I said, he should be upset. He should be upset.
What's that remind you of?
An aeroplane.
Didn't
Didn't Elton-
Oh, right. Yeah,
Didn't Elton
yeah.
John do one about that?
What?
Leave it.
What's the song called?
Black Country Woman.
Black Country Woman.
What was the one that Elton
The
John
B
did?
side of Trampled Underfoot.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin.
I mean,
In case this has not been picked up on the audio, there is actually a plane passing above our heads.
Yes, it's a very big bar that we're in.
Yes.
and if you've heard Black Country Woman, there's a plane crossing over the head when they're recording that. And Robert Plant says,
Now leave it in.
"No, leave it."
I didn't say like that.
In a very croaky voice.
Yeah, leave it in.
I love the drumming on that track.
Yeah.
I've listened to it for 40 odd years, and
There you go, John Bonham. That's why
Yeah,
we're in
and I
there
still-
with
and I
one of
s-
mine.
I still get it wrong when he comes in, because he comes in at an awkward place,
Yeah. Oh, it's very good.
and it's just like
That's probably because he was drunk.
well, he would always. He probably will. but
He just probably got fed up of waiting and thought, oh, fuck it, I'm having it now.
we can't hold that against him, can we?
No, absolutely not. So they're the dream teams. Do you think, what are you going to start little and go big, into your venues? Are you going to work your way up?
I think you have to.
I'm going to start mine off in city halls and slowly work my way to beaches.
Well, there are a dream team, so they've already got established following, right?
People will pay a lot of money to see them dream teams.
They would.
I'd go festival circuit. That's what I do.
I'd start with city halls first, just to get the vibe out there.
No, I'd go private little clubs like the Woodlands.
Private little clubs.
and then I could sit and watch them whenever I wanted to.
And then scrutinise them if they dropped a note.
Yes.
I should have chosen differently. You've let me down,
I
boys.
knew I should have had that.
You've let me
I
down.
should have had that another one from 36 drummers that I'd picked.
I'm just consulting my list.
Pino, pack your stuff up and just leave.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you.
Go back to Cardiff.
Well, again, if you've any comments, if you've got your own dream teams,
Yeah.
leave them below. Let's have a look at them.
And what? Actually, here's a question. So, what do you consider the closest dream team lineup? Like, is it already a band now? Now they don't have to be like they don't have to produce the best albums or consistently great work, but like, what would be the dream team already exists? Ooh,
I would, without going too much into it, I like the. Yeah, and I know you're going to laugh at me for this one, but the Black Country Communion,
all right.
which happens to have Joe
well,
Bonamassa on guitar,
features Joe Bonamassa. And they're planning
and
a new
Glenn
album.
Hughes as the
Planning a
singer.
new album, aren't they?
Yeah.
Planning a new album, so
Number
that'll be
4.
interesting.
And it's got Glenn Hughes as singer.
Great singer. I think he's left
Dead Daisies.
Dead Daisies. Has he left them?
No, I don't think he's left it. I think he's had a throat infection.
No. He's announced some tour dates where he's doing Deep Purple.
Well, all right. Well, the last tour that they did, they had to get somebody else in to sing because he got a throat infection. And
yeah, they got
there was
Dino Chiluzak in,
I don't
who's
know who
an
it was.
excellent young man.
But didn't they do something as well with they do another album, but they had to delay that because of this infection that he got?
Yeah, he got COVID, didn't he?
What it COVID he
I
had?
think he got COVID,
Oh,
and then he
right.
got a chest infection. Dino Chiluzak came in. Is it Chiluzak? Chiluzik. Great singer, old school type singer.
I'm not familiar with him.
Really good. Yeah, I think he's Croatian, something like that. Somebody will correct me somewhere. But
Not that matters.
no, it don't. But he's a great singer. He's a bit in the model of David Coverdale,
Oh, right.
but
yeah.
probably better.
Really?
Yeah, probably better. He's really good. Never looks like he's really straining to sing, but he's got a really strong, powerful, that type of rock voice.
I'm sure David would have something to say about that. Jeffrey, darling, how dare you
He would. He would.
insult me?
When it made me laugh, and I still laugh because Louis don't know this, but David Coverdale calls everybody by their full Christian name.
Yes.
All right.
And when he was talking to Joe Bonamassa, everybody knows Joe Bonamassa. You know, he was talking to Joe Bonamassa on his podcast. Well, it's like this, Joseph. Call him Joseph. I just thought it was hilarious. It was just so typical of him to do that.
Well,
But even he's retired now.
Have you seen photos of him recently?
No, I haven't. No. Well, apart from he's got a face like the moon.
Yeah.
he's
With
changed,
with a gum shield.
yeah. He looks like Ken Dodd.
he does with a wig on.
Sorry, David. I know you've got good lawyers. Please don't use them.
I mean, no one's saying that Ken Dodd is an ugly man.
No, I never said that. I just said he looks like Ken Dodd.
Yeah, there we go.
But you're right.
He does.
He could sing as well, couldn't he?
Ken
Apparently.
Dodd, yeah. With his what we called his fancy tickler.
It
Something like that.
was his tickle stick
Or his tickle stick.
or his giggle stick, something stick, not
Yeah,
fancy
something like
tickler.
Going a slippery slope here.
Different
Slippery
times,
slope.
different times.
Yes, anyway, let's get back.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's your dream team.
Yeah.
Already exists. What would yours be?
What?
A dream team that already exists. Sucking in the air, breathing out the answer.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. I suppose, seeing as I picked 3 of them, it would have to be John Mayer Trio.
Right.
Because I picked drummer, bass player, and John Mayer in my shortlist. So
I thought you might have gone for G3.
I do like the way John Mayer and the rest of them in that little period of time, they just had really good sound. Excellent musicians, all 3 of them.
But John Mayer does write like he writes more than he should wet songs. They're a bit.
He does.
Is
Yeah,
there-
and this is a criticism that a lot of people throw at him, and it's and I get it. I completely get it. That he does a lot of the wet songs, as you call them.
He doesn't he has interesting lyrics, but they're not strong. They're a bit soft and a bit.
Yeah.
They let him down, really.
When it comes to the playing side of his music, very few can beat him.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a very good player. I love him as a guitar player. I think his phrasing is fantastic. He allows a lot of space in his playing and his notes.
Yeah, very creative.
Unlike a lot of guitar players, he allows the melody of the solo to breathe.
Yeah.
And he is a big fan of the Peaks and Troughs, which isn't a band. It's just a way of playing.
Oh, I thought it was another dream team you got.
No,
going.
Peaks and Troughs.
It's actually a good name, that.
Peaks and Troughs is actually a duo. It's Silverback and Burke Bacharach.
Like Peaks and Troughs, I think they're supporting Light and Shade this year.
Light and Shade. No, they got banned. Yeah, they got banned because they wore makeup.
I think they're a two-tone ska band.
Ska band.
It's a bit day and night.
It's a bit.
Anyway, who's yours?
Mine would be Led Zeppelin, because you've got
Yeah.
the Thunder.
Yeah.
You got Robert Plant, who is an icon of a singer,
Yeah.
and writes these mystical, wonderful lyrics that even he doesn't even understand. But they seem
There's
to
a
have some.
feeling I get when I look to the west.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Makes me wonder that. So we got Robert Plant, the powerhouse that is, and he is also quite a showman. You know, he had his hands on his hips and his little short, like matador tops. Weird.
There was an overuse of the word baby, though.
Well,
Baby!
baby.
Baby, Bobby!
Wah.
And you've got Jimmy Page on guitar, who played
Difficult to beat.
lead and rhythm while on stage. A lot of people forget that he is playing lead and rhythm at the same time. Andy would have
It's
had a
known
bottle
as-
of Jack Daniels on the one night as
It's
well.
known as Lidum.
Yeah, rhythm.
And then you got John Paul Jones, who's no slouch on the bass.
Now he's an interesting bass player, and he plays keyboards and mandolin. And
Yeah.
apparently that he doesn't pay attention to the lyrics. The lyrics mean absolutely nothing to him. He can recognise a song by the instruments that are being played. It doesn't take the lead for the turnaround or anything like that by Robert Plant. He's listening to the song, and then John Bonham on drums is just another.
Well, he's in the world of his own, isn't he?
It's like Zeus.
And usually
Sorry,
was-
not a world of his own. He's in a league of
Like
his own.
Zeus clapping thunder together.
Who doesn't like him as a drummer? I know I haven't picked him. I know Wayne mentioned him earlier, but
It's like
He would have my top two.
it's like an obvious choice, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
only
choosing
went
Jimi
with-
Hendrix or something
I
like
went
that.
with Nick Mason because I just thought he might have put that little bit of subtlety there.
Yeah.
everybody
If I were
sound
gonna go
checks
f-
him, don't they?
Yeah, if I were going to go for hardcore, let's have it type of stuff, you'd go with Bonham every
Yeah.
time.
Everybody sound checks him in
Yeah.
comments about drumming.
Do you know why Led Zeppelin wrote Stairway to Heaven?
Well, they didn't. It was Plant, weren't it, who wrote it?
Well,
Technically, sure.
splitting hairs. I don't think Robert Plant wrote the solo and the guitar section for Stairway to Heaven. So, do you know why?
I think you'll find.
Do you know why they wrote it?
Why did they write it?
That's the question I'm asking you. Do you know?
Oh, no, I don't.
There we go.
Was it something to do with Bonham?
Yeah, he was in the band.
No, with
I'll tell you. I'll relieve you from this pain.
Bonham. Relieve me.
George Harrison said in an interview, Led Zeppelin are all right, but I don't think they can do a ballad.
Oh,
And what did they go and do? They only went and invented the power ballad.
the biggest power ballad of all time.
The biggest
Which were what?
Stairway to Heaven. Yeah.
What you said? Who? As if like you know a bigger one.
You've drifted away from the
I
microphone.
did again.
Yeah.
Again.
Sorry.
And you've got earphones on.
Here's the drifter.
I'm a drifter.
Like a tramp, like the band he chose.
Do you know a bigger power ballad than?
No, I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, so it's George Harrison who inspired the reaction for Stairway to Heaven.
Very good. Very
Well,
good.
then, well done, George.
It's a good point. I got a little.
Good little fact for you there,
Good
little,
little fact
little
there.
fountain
Yeah,
nugget.
I like the little nuggets just thrown in randomly.
Yep.
No finer than a random nugget.
Thrown in.
Join me on nugget catching.
Or join us on the next edition
of nugget catching.
of podcasts.
Of podcasts.
Bye all.
That's a different show. Goodbye.
Goodbye.